Hi, this is Brooke Devard from Naked Beauty. Are you tired of feeling housebound? I sure am. Break free with the new Unbound cordless auto curler from Conair. It's a high-performance auto curler that's rechargeable and gives you up to 60 minutes of cord-free runtime. Just think of all of the incredible hair looks you can create in 60 minutes unbound away from your wall. Don't get tied down by cords. Love your look, live unbound. Check it out at conair.com and search Unbound.
Welcome to
Separate Bathrooms and other handy marriage tips. I'm Ali.
I'm Cam. Hi.
And then I've written down etc., etc.
Yeah, what is that? We're working from notes today.
Yeah, etc., etc. I don't know. That's
Did
just
you have
like
anything
when we...
in mind?
Oh, look. Not
here
really.
we go. Hope you're well.
Yes.
Hope you're happy.
Yes.
Hope things are going great in your life.
Yeah, I like that. That's nice. Welcome to one and all. Look, we are going to be discussing such a great post today. We follow a relationship expert, a man called Mark Groves, and you can check him out on Instagram. His handle is @CreateTheLove. And he's this Canadian chap that's just full of really great insights. He swears like a sailor, which kind of why I like him as well.
And he's a hockey player and he likes beer, eh? He's a hooser.
I don't know if he does hockey. I know he loves nature. But it's a great quote, right, honey?
All Canadians like hockey, honey. Yes, and it is a great quote. Here's the quote. Al, you start.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a fairly long one, so we're jumping right in here. It's a fairly long one.
Aren't all good things?
Huh? Over the top of my head. There's 4 parts to it, so we're going to go back and forth and share the quote. Here we go. I meet people all the time who are in constant search for more and more knowledge. This insatiable desire to learn and do another course or read another book, and that's really great. But the majority of personal growth books really just say, make a different choice, like choose something different.
It goes on to say, you could pathologize, it's a great word, and learn all about why you do and what you do, which is great because for a human that causes less cognitive dissonance when we can say, it's not my fault that this happened.
But it's our responsibility what we do with what we learn. And I think the huge shift is that we often feel like we're at this problem, where this problem that's waiting to be solved. That the more information I gather, the more things I learn, then I'll be able to intellectualize and understand this thing.
Yeah. But the challenge with humans when we have so much information is we can make anything make sense if we need it to. So Mark is saying, I invite you to choose a behavior that changes your life. Make a different choice. Put the books down, put the knowledge search down, and actually engage in a different choice. Choose love wholeheartedly, not just intellectually. The patterns will change when you do.
Yeah. So we were talking about this, and I love this post for multiple reasons. It hit me in a way that made a lot of sense to me because I can be a real research addict where I buy another book about this and read up about that and listen to another podcast and watch another documentary and research it on Google. Something that I'm attempting to shift and I research and look and read and read and read. But the one thing I don't do is take the action to make the actual change. And there's a difference between learning something in order to make the change, learning what I'm feeling, what's going on. I understand that part of it, though. What I feel this is about is that place in us where where I just am just waffling on and I'm just this constant, I'm avoiding the action that I actually really need to take by just continuing to be in my head about what the action really is.
Do you sometimes feel when you're doing the research and you're doing your intellectual studies that is the action, that it'll somehow by osmosis that will change you?
Yeah, exactly. That if I read about it and understand it, then problem solved. But that's also the thing that I like about this when he says, like, where this problem waiting to be solved. And I understand that part too, where I've often felt like that I'm this broken, there's parts of me that are broken.
Right.
And that I've just got to figure out how to fix it. And then, so if I read up more and do a lot more thinking about it, then my problem will get solved. And again, like there's that fine line of going, well, I've thought about it. I've given myself space to think about what I really need to do. And there's always an action in there. There's always an action to change it, because just thinking about it isn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's true. Thinking about it isn't enough. Thinking about it starts the action. I mean, the idea is the thing that drives us, though you have to take the action in order to make the change. I agree with a lot of this quote. I agree with it in terms of people who are those knowledge seekers and will just push knowledge out and use it as a weapon against you or against another person to make them feel stupid or belittle them because they know more than them. So, if I just bamboozle someone with facts and figures and numbers and all that sort of business, then I can make an argument for anything. And as he says here, when he says the challenge with humans when we have so much information is we can make anything make sense if we need it to. So you can create an argument based on any sort of intellectual idea that you want to, because there's research to back up probably anything. And I do feel like it's important. We have to take action if you want to change.
Yeah.
Yet for me, I rely on different stimulus, and especially when I'm in the action of changing a pattern, and I want I need to look at things from different angles. So to put the books down, as he's suggesting, or not go to research material, to me is, I like them. I like to have little reminders of things that are going to, give me another challenge for the day. Because I've said it before, I'm pretty dense. And if I stick on one track, then I kind of lose my way. And I'm kind of wondering, why am I doing this? But if you've got other supporting elements in there, I suppose it's just how you use them. Them being the books or the information that that you're learning.
Yeah. And I hear what you're saying, and I totally get that, and I agree. And I also feel that when he's saying put the books down, like I'll use an example for me. I've wanted to write for such a long time, write a book, and never thought it was going to be a book about menopause, but hey, I'm running with that. But I have been buying books about how to write for so many years. So, right? You've given me books about how to write a book
write a
for
screenplay,
so many years.
This,
right?
Yeah.
I have a shelf full of how to be a writer, how to write books. And I never put pen to paper. And I have now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's the action.
I'm laughing because I have all those acting books.
Yeah, but you've been an actor.
I'd like to think I'm an actor and, have how to act books, how to direct, how to produce, how to, all those things.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's supporting what I'm saying before about just finding little tidbits to just reinvigorate my passion.
Yeah, I think that's something different. Idea. Yeah, because I agree. I think that can be really helpful. And you know how you can also have different people's voices make the penny drop? Yeah. You know how you can hear somebody say something for years and you're like, yeah, sure. Then somebody else reframes it. It's the exact same information. Someone else reframes it and you go, oh,
honey. That's what we do on this podcast.
Good. That's so good. I love that. That makes so much sense,
Yeah, look, really, we're not coming up with anything new in this podcast, but sometimes what we say might hit. I know it has. People have told me already. It's hit people in certain ways, going, I've heard that before. But when you said it, or when Alison said it, it's probably more to the point. When Al said it, it just dropped for me.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when I've said something to you and you go, honey, I've told you that 10 times. And I go, yeah, but maybe I wasn't ready to hear it from you.
Yeah.
I heard it from that person.
Yeah. So again, that kind of, it doesn't necessarily fly. It's not necessarily flying in the face of the quote, because I do believe what he's saying is kind of what I was referencing before. Stop buying another book on how to write a book.
Just do it.
Write the book. You know, that's the action. Like, what's the action to take? So,
yeah.
And I really liked that. And this, again, like I said, just we need to stop thinking of ourselves as a problem to solve, or of our partners or our children or our workmates or our family, like they're a problem to solve.
Well, yeah. Well, as a dude, we like to fix, and we get our value often from fixing things.
Yeah.
So, you know,
that's a dodgy place to. I mean, you know that's been a hard place for you to exist in, as being the fixer, though.
Absolutely. I find a lot of joy in fixing inanimate objects.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
and you're very good at it.
something.
Yeah.
And I know that I've said this before, that when I am finding life difficult, I will often go and prune trees and fix the garden.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is difficult for some of us to not want to fix and to not view something as broken, and then we can fix it because then we feel valuable. I know you had an experience where someone would make you upset and cry, and then they'd nurse you back, and they felt pretty good at it about life because they stopped you crying.
Yeah,
you know?
when I was little.
Yeah.
Little girl. Yeah. Not last week.
No, when you're a little wee thing.
Yeah. A
wee thing.
And that brings me to something else that we've talked about before. And again, you know, it's another point that Mark Groves had made in a previous post that I also really liked. You know, what are the actions that we can take on a day-to-day basis, even that do make a change? You know, again, time of COVID, we're in the house together with our kids, with our partners. Sometimes some of you are with your mum and dad even. You know, you've moved them into the house, and it can be a really frustrating time. And those frustrations can come out sideways to the people that we love. And I know that this has happened, you know, when I've been in a place of struggle, and so I've seen everything through a very negative lens. And most of us are kind of used to connecting, often through criticism, you know, whether it be through...
That's what you're used to hearing?
Well, be through, you know, sometimes I certainly hear that, you know, with kids, how they connect often through criticism rather than positivity. And it, especially if there's like a disconnection in the relationship, sometimes that's the way that, you know, those little jibes and jokes and...
Well, you suck at that, or you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. No, you can't. You can't do that.
That's exactly right.
Because you hear it at the schoolyard all the time.
Yeah,
right?
I know. And we think that, and, you know, some people think to constantly criticize or to nitpick is the way to make connection. And it's the complete opposite, because the way to really make connection is to connect through kindness and positivity.
Is that also, you know, nitpicking through critical comments? Is that also, could someone justify that as going, yeah, but I care about you, so I want to fix you? I want to fix that?
I could imagine some people might think that, though. Whoever thinks that, wow, you did that so badly, that was a terrible, terrible blank, that person's going to feel that good about themselves that they want to do it better next time. Like, it's just... That's
how
I
Andrew Daddo and I play golf together.
That's true. Yeah, what do you...
That was the most terrible part. What was that?
But what do you call it? A slag off or something? Don't you do it like you actually
slagging or
you try to actually do it to put each other
trash talking.
Put each other off your game.
Yeah.
But Mark talks about how researchers studied newlyweds over a weekend and then studied them 6 years later, and the people that were still together, no surprise, were the ones that gave 5, 6, 7, 8 compliments to only 1 criticism.
I've still got a ratio going here.
Yeah. So for an action, if you're finding yourself in your relationship that's turned a bit negative or frustrating or not so fun, start looking for the positive interaction. Look for what your partner's doing well. And if you magnify what people are doing right and how they show up and how, because we all love to be seen. We've talked about that. We all love to be affirmed. Then we can build relationship from positivity. You know what I mean? So I think that because frustration can show up in all sorts of ways. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you get that?
Yeah, no, I do. And I do understand that from a place of, especially during this time of isolation and being so close to each other and the kids being here and they're just being constant dishes in the sink and the washing machine's overloaded and buckets of soaking have to leave there for 2 weeks.
And then you get Riv making us sushi dinner last night with miso soup. And you know what I mean? How good was that? And
so you're actually
apple
dobbing him
pie.
in saying he's the one doing the
Well, no, but I'm just
washing.
saying that's one example of like
River is our
how-
son, by the way.
How good did he feel like with all the compliments and the affirmations that he got? You know what I mean?
That is a great point because, so we went apple picking on the weekend and came back with a bunch of beautiful apples. And River had printed out his favourite apple pie recipe because I'd said, I think I might make an apple pie. So when I got home, there was this recipe sitting on the kitchen table. And I said, where's this come from? And you said to me, River's printed it out for you to make the pie. I'm like, oh, that's a new thing. That's something he's never done before. And getting involved in something that sort of I'm going to do. But because this is something that River likes to do. And so he was like he was assisting me in a lovely way, or supporting me rather.
Yeah.
More of a support thing. And so, look, I went ahead and I made the pie. It looked great. It smelt great. It just tasted not good. It just didn't taste good.
In our eldest daughter's fine words, she goes, Mum, it tasted like disinfectant.
Okay, so what I did was I followed this. I'm good at following instructions. I can build anything from IKEA. I can do things like that. I'm treating the bacon like that.
Very good like that.
Thank you. It's just
I'm affirming you, honey. I'm affirming you.
Cooking is obviously, that's a chemical thing. It's a chemical reaction and things happen. And River's been doing
And it's new
this.
to you.
It's brand new to me.
Yeah.
It's my first pie, attempt. River, he's been doing it since he was a wee.
5.
There you go.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he's done the recipe for me, and I'm following it to the T. It said use a small orange, but we only had a big orange because they're brand new season oranges. Go back the new oranges if you see them in Woolies or Coles. They are so good. I used the, what do you call it? The rind?
Yep.
No, you've got another, zest. So I've zested the orange, and it said small orange, so I used about 3/4 of the orange. I've loaded it all in together. I had to make some egg wash, and the instructions said put it all in the bowl together. So I've put it all in the bowl together, made up the pie, realised halfway through that I wasn't supposed to put the egg wash in. That was to wipe over the pastry on the top before putting it in. But I put it in anyway.
Put it in with the apples. Yeah.
In with the apples and stuff. Anyway, so an hour later, out pops this beautiful looking pie. Smells great. Let it sit for a couple of hours and we watch it. Listen to me. We eat it after we've watched Home and Away.
Had to get in there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a celebration. That's why.
Yeah, true.
It was a bit of a celebration. So, and this pie just tasted like, disinfected. And River's actually gone. Well, you say what River said to you.
Oh, he was so
River's
sweet.
played both sides of the fence beautifully.
Yeah,
you'd say.
because he was going, no, it's good, Dad. Yeah, with ice cream. It's great. Yeah. You might have just done a little bit too much orange, but that's okay. No, it's good. It's good. And then Cam left the room and Riv went, it was not good. But I didn't want to tell him that because he'd worked really hard on it. Meanwhile,
which is a direct result, as you said, of since he's been 5 years old cooking, I've tasted everything.
You have.
Everything I've been home for to eat, I've tasted everything he's cooked.
Yeah.
And I always like it.
Yeah, he
Even
knows
if
that
I
you
hate
will.
it, I always like it.
Yeah.
And but I very rarely do not like it. And now the interesting thing, this is where Riv played both sides of the fence. He knows what Ali's like in terms of with hygiene, with different foods and combinations, and he knows what she likes and what she doesn't like. So Riv's come up to me and he's gone, there's my pie, there's my little piece of pie, and he says, see those white bits there? And I said, yeah. And he goes, that's scrambled egg. What?
It's a scrambled egg and apple pie.
That's from the egg wash. So it's an orange scrambled egg apple pie. And he goes, don't worry, you can't taste it. We just won't tell Mum. Okay, Riv, thanks, mate.
Want better sleep? It's time to toss out your memory foam and upgrade to an Awara, the organic luxury hybrid mattress with Sri Lankan latex wrapped around coil springs to provide contour and a touch of bounce for supportive sleep throughout the night. The best part? A 365-night trial, no questions asked. If you don't like it, we'll take it back. You can't go wrong with free shipping, free returns, and a forever warranty. AWARASleep.com and use code HEALTH for $350 off. Plus, we will plant 100 trees with your purchase.
Basically, so here we are, we're saying with compliments. So River's been complimented or been treated kindly with his cooking for his entire life, and he was kind to me.
Well, just the action of positivity, isn't it? Like if you're finding yourself in a dark place, a negative place with your partner, I think that's a great check-in for me to go, how much am I focusing on the negative right now?
Yeah.
What is positive? What can I affirm that's positive to make that action of change?
Yeah. So, and as we spoke about in the last podcast, here Ali and I are spending a lot of time together. We have a beautiful home to live in, and yet, it's very easy to get on each other's nerves. And so it's easy to focus on negatives. But when you take that action to focus on, actually, what is she doing? What is happening? What is the love that's being shared? It does mitigate the negatives. And you no longer see it. I guess that's the thing. You see what you focus on.
Yeah.
And but one thing that did surprise me this morning is how what we're talking about, you can do it with your partner or your children or your friends or your parents. I think you can do it to yourself.
It being
self-criticizing. And I have been doing a lot of that lately.
What's triggered that, do you think?
I don't need to say that.
Why not?
Okay, I'll say that. So we did talk about it before. We did mention it. Home and Away. So I've just come on air on Home and Away last week, and so things are starting to roll, and the spotlight has turned on, and a lot of publicity I've been doing and things. And that has hit into feeling really exposed and vulnerable to that, like criticisms and it's not that this is new to me.
Yeah.
I've been through this. It's a little different. now because of social media and to the extent that we are exposing ourselves. And as an artist, we can do that in a much greater way now. There's more people doing it. Any man and his dog can get out there on Instagram or the socials and create a career for themselves. Where this is hitting me is in feeling exposed, and it is difficult to talk about. But I realised also, and I shared this with you this morning, that over the years I've been hypercritical of my work, and I'll see it. It's like I'll see something that I'd made 20 years ago.
Yeah. And
I'll just come across it, and I'll look at it and go, that was really good. And cheapest, what a handsome young fellow that guy was, you know. But I mean, I'm looking at it really objectively too. This is not an ego thing. It's just, and I say it that because I put myself back in the shoes of me when I made that and when it came out, and how critical I was of myself, of how I looked, of what my acting was like. I was just so critical, and I would beat the absolute living bejesus out of myself.
Yeah.
Go into a huge hole.
Yeah.
And
pretty much every job.
Pretty much every job?
Say. Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much.
Especially during rehearsals, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Anyway, but they'll look at it 20 years later and go, that was a really good piece of work. What was I concerned about? So this morning when I got up, I remembered that equation, and I'm just going, just relax and get off yourself. You know, stop criticizing yourself and focus on the positives.
Yeah.
And that felt good to me to do that, and it felt different, and that was a change of perspective.
It's an action. There you go. Yeah. The action was that you told yourself you need to stop, because you understood it.
Yeah.
The action was to stop the negative thoughts.
Yeah. It's only taken me 35 years to figure out, but we get there in the end, don't we? Who's being judgy about that?
You know how I relate to what you're saying too is, and I think a lot of ladies out there are going to relate to this, you know, looking back on old photos and you're thinking to yourself, or I thought to myself at the time, wow, I looked so much bigger, or this or that, or I looked older there, or whatever it was that I felt at the time. And I go, what the heck was I thinking about? Look at the shape I was in. Look at how much, you know, and that's what we tell Lotus, our eldest now, 24, who sometimes worries about, the weight gain or this. And I'm going, oh, honey, you're 24. In 40 years' time, in 20 years' time, you'll look back on your body and go, I was gorgeous. So if only we could use that in hindsight right now. Yeah. But it's, which is hard to do. It's a challenge, though.
Yeah, I was wondering, how do we do that? How do we help our young folk not be self-critical? Because a lot of people will say we model collie them. Model collie them? Yeah, model collie them. Molly Coddle.
Molly Coddle. Coddle Molly?
We're going to figure out how to say Molly Coddle.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I guess it's by demonstrating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. As parents, you demonstrate
there you go.
The kindness to yourself, and they see, oh, my mum doesn't do this. My dad is kind to himself, and that's the demonstration. Again, it's all about, it's back to being, it's taking the action to be positive, not only to yourself, to others, to any relationship, is, you know, accentuate the positive. Saying, what is it that I do? What is it that I like about my body right now? You know?
Yeah. A lot of people I speak to in business, they will often refer to positivity in meetings, people who are positive, and they're like always looking, they're curious, they're always looking for new and innovative ways to do things. They're upbeat, they come in, they're ready, they're prepared. You know, they're the ones that often make things happen. And it's the same thing on a film set. You get if you've got an actor coming in, or the director of photography, or the director, you know, they're coming in and they're positive. It just creates a wonderful place to be. Whereas if someone is the opposite to that, it makes for a very long day.
Yeah, of course.
And creativity goes out the window usually too.
And it's not that there isn't going to be criticism. It's not that it's going to be void of that.
Yeah.
Because that's just weird. That's just I don't know if that's reality.
It's not realistic.
Yeah, and no one wants to fake anything either. Though, if you have the much higher majority of positivity, then you're making changes. You're making changes in that relationship.
You always know how to button an episode. That's great.
Thank you. You just affirmed that for me.
That's true. And I could babble on for another 3 minutes. Be like, oh, dude, just
No,
shut
you
up.
have an apple pie to bake, don't you?
I do. Well,
Get you back
wonderful.
in the kitchen.
Get me back in the game, Coach. Thanks for being here. We'll be back next week.
Yes. Thank
And-
you. Be positive.
Yeah. Take
Be
good care of
kind.
yourself.
Thanks for listening.